On lesson 90 in the workbook for A Course in Miracles, this is the last review in this set of reviews, and we'll be reviewing two lessons today. Lesson 79, Let Me Recognize the Problem So It Can Be Solved, and lesson 80, Let Me Recognize My Problems Have Been Solved. Again, the practice periods are two longer ones, one with each of these lessons. First part of the day, we'll use this. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. We'll spend about 15 minutes with that. And then the second half of the day, we want to spend it with this lesson, about 15 minutes. And the practice instructions is to read this lesson over, get these thoughts clear in our minds, get to that part of our minds that has these thoughts, and then quietly listen for a message that's waiting for us. Some message that we want, some message that's just for us. If we have trouble listening, then we want to go back to the lesson title, the idea, like here, let me recognize the problem so it can be solved, or these comments, to refocus our minds, and then we go back to listening. So those are the longer practice periods. So in this one, let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. Let me realize today that the problem is always some form of grievance that I would cherish. And again, grievance, grieving loss, some sense of loss or incompletion, or things are not right, or we're experiencing some sense of loss by what's going on. That's a grievance. And then let me also understand that the solution to that is always a miracle with which I let the grievance be replaced. And today I would remember the simplicity of salvation by reinforcing the lesson: there is one problem, one solution. The problem is a grievance, the solution is a miracle. And I invite the solution to come to me through my forgiveness of the grievance and my welcome of the miracle that takes its place. All right, so we want to then, through the rest of the first part of the day, we want to remember this idea as often as we can. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. Can't solve a problem if we don't know what it is. We can't solve a problem if we think it's something else. And to the ego, the something else is some script it wrote for the world. That's what it sees as the problem. And what the Course is saying is it's that script that's the problem. And we can have it replaced with the miracle. So we want to remember that as often as we can during the day. If specific situations come up where we're tempted to lose our peace, we want to apply the idea in a form to that situation. We might say, for instance, this presents a problem to me. I would have resolved the miracle behind this grievance, will resolve it for me, or the answer to this problem is the miracle that it conceals. Particular words aren't important, but just to get that concept clear in our minds. One problem, one solution. Problem is a grievance. Solution is a miracle, and apply it specifically to those situations, personalities, or events. That's where our learning will come, is right there in our everyday life. So the second half of the day, we want to spend 15 minutes with this, and let me recognize my problems have been solved. Read over the lesson, get our mind in that place, and then listen. So in Let Me Recognize My Problems Have Been Solved, I seem to have problems only because I'm misusing time. I believe that problems come first, and time must elapse before it can be worked out. I do not see the problem and the answer as simultaneously in their occurrence. This is because I do not yet realize that God has placed the answer together with the problem, so they cannot be separated by time. So here, the separation that never happened is we continue to believe it happened because we think problems and their solutions are separated in time. We have to wait for something to happen outside of us so our problems are be solved. Well, that's just a form of separation. So, but God has placed the answer where the problem is, and the solution is there right now. It's not separate by time. or separated by time. The Holy Spirit will teach me this if I will let Him, and I will understand it's impossible I could have a problem which has not been solved already. Right? So there's a lot of peace in that, in this recognition that our solutions are there right now. So we want to remind ourselves of this idea as often as we can. If specific situations comes up, we could say something like, I need not wait for this to be resolved. The answer to this problem is already given me if I will accept it, or time cannot separate this problem from the solution. Some form of this idea applied to those specific personality situations or events that seem to be the problem. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.